Homeless woman gives a shocking response to a man trying to help her. It doesn't take much to touch a life. Sometimes a simple smile is enough to brighten someone's day. But passing glances don't fill empty stomachs, nor do they warm the homeless on cold nights. It takes people of all walks of life to truly make a difference in the lives of those in need. Even at the most unexpected of times, an ordinary individual has the potential to become a hero. For one Welsh man, a casual night out on the town turned unforgettable after he came across a homeless woman in need. He offered her help, and the woman's reply was so shocking that he knew, right then and there, that he had to do much more than just toss her a handful of change. You never know what kind of crazy things you might come across while out with friends, yet most don't experience anything more than booze and a good time. Jonathan Pengilly sure didn't, but instead of a lost night, he wound up with one he'd never forget. On the night in question, Jonathan and his friends were heading back from an evening of bar hopping around the port city of Cardiff in Wales. Their hours of drinking had no doubt lightened their pockets, so the group stopped for a cheap bite at a nearby McDonald's. To the group's annoyance, the line inside was longer than expected, yet it wasn't because of some late-night rush. A woman was attempting to order at the counter, though it appeared that the cashier wouldn't let her. Even from where he stood, Jonathan could tell the woman was homeless. He assumed she was looking for a handout or a meal she couldn't pay for. But as he got in line to order, he realized how wrong he truly was. This woman didn't want a free meal, she just wanted a cup of water. And yet the cashier had turned her away. The woman left the counter, and for the first time, Jonathan saw how weak and sickly she looked. He knew he couldn't just let this woman wander back out into the cold without so much as a nibble. So he approached, wallet in hand, and asked if there was anything he could get her. Part of him expected the woman to squeeze as much goodwill as she could with a huge order, but she was simple in her reply: a cheeseburger. All she wanted was a cheeseburger. Taken by the woman's humility, Jonathan wasn't satisfied with just buying her a burger and sending her on her way. He asked if there was anything else he could do for her, yet the only other thing she could think of was getting a small bite of food for her friend waiting outside. So Jonathan did just that, though instead of a small bite, he bought as much food and drink as he could carry and brought it out to them. His friends did the same, and by the time they were done, they'd set an entire McDonald's feast at the woman's feet. Jonathan and the others sat with them as they ate, striking up a conversation to learn a little more about the two women. The one who had been turned away by the cashier's name was Polly, and she had been living on the streets for years. As they talked, Polly explained that as a homeless person, kindness had been hard to come by, with people going as far as to mock her and her friends as they passed them by on the streets. Hearing the sadness in the way she said this was enough to bring Jonathan to tears. These women were nothing like the way most homeless people were made out to be. When I got to speak to them, I was genuinely shocked at their story and how educated they were, Jonathan told The Sun. So full of life and enthusiasm, and they literally have nothing. After they'd finished their meal, Jonathan decided one last act of kindness was in order. He talked it through with his friends, and the group resolved to invite the women back to their home for some much-needed TLC. Here, Jonathan allowed Polly and her friends to shower and brush their teeth, the first time they'd done so in ages. He also cooked up several days' worth of meals and packed them up in plastic bags for the women to take with them. To top it off, Jonathan provided them with clean blankets and pillows to help them keep warm during the cold winter. With their stomachs full, bodies clean, and meals bundled up tight, Polly and her friend bid Jonathan and the others farewell before taking off into the night. It was clear that Jonathan's time spent with Polly deeply affected him, and so he took to Facebook to share his experience. While his retelling of that emotional night was a positive one, he also condemned McDonald's for their treatment of the homeless woman. "I don't know what was going through the cashier's mind," he wrote, "but a lady, clearly homeless, was asking for a basic human right, and for a multi-billion-pound company for them to say no is disgusting." Reporters contacted McDonald's for comment, although the company was quick to dismiss any accusations of discrimination. According to one spokesman, There's no McDonald's policy that bans homeless people from our stores, and the vast majority of such requests are granted by our restaurant teams. The spokeswoman went on to reveal that there was actually a reason behind the cashier's refusal of service to Polly. As it turns out, Polly was on a police-sanctioned list of individuals banned from the restaurant. Working with the local police, our Cardiff stores have had to ban a number of individuals due to illegal and antisocial behavior, which was why this individual was refused service, explained the spokeswoman. Antisocial behavior or not, denying Polly a simple glass of water just goes to show the kind of stigma that surrounds the homeless. Yet these individuals don't always have to be victims. Sometimes homeless people can wind up playing the hero instead.